this is Heidi Nostrom, and this is my presentation for my case study. I'm an AP macroeconomics teacher, and my case study was on my formatives in that class. I teach on-level economics as well, but my Action for Research project is also based on my AP class, so I wanted to kind of blend the two so I could see what my teaching practices were. In component one, okay, took a deep dive into my grading practices, looked at what I did, what I graded, how I graded, and why. Okay, how often do I call home? How often do I interact with my students? Am I giving them feedback, and am I giving it in an appropriate amount of time? Okay. I have found that my grading practices have changed significantly over time. I used to grade every single thing. Now I don't. That's just not sustainable. Okay. What could I do differently? I need to give feedback to students sooner. They do get it, the written feedback, but I think it needs to come back to them quicker than what I am, and that is a time management issue on my part. So I need to work on that. Time management seems to be a big thing that I need to. I also need to vary the types of formative assessments that I give my students in my AP class. I switch it up a lot in on-level, but AP is very kind of strict, and that's due to my approach to how I teach the AP class, not just for them to pass, but for the test as well. And so it's one of the things this summer that I need to look at. I need to see how can I make my formative assessments smaller, easier to grade, and give me the best insight into how the students are performing so I can help them better. In component 2, discussed my PLC group. We meet on Mondays at 11, and it's not really a group. It's just me and the other econ teacher and sometimes our data specialist. The other econ teacher doesn't teach AP macro at all. She's just strictly on level, and in fact, she only has one one econ class. The rest of them are civics. So there's a challenge there, trying to figure out. I try to adapt what I can from on level to AP, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But overall, I do think that we have a good support system here at school, PLC wise and PD wise. It's really good. I just I need some help with the AP portion and making sure that I'm doing right by them. I also, as stated on the screen, I don't have a concrete plan for students with IEPs and 504s in AP because I don't tend to get students with IEPs. I know they exist, but I haven't had them yet. So that's another thing I need to look at and make sure that everything is being delivered to all students equally and not just the ones that are seemingly to get it. I do need to collaborate with my peer over at Rockmart High School more. I think that would help. And I also think it would help when I go to my AP gifted meetings that the county has and bring up some of my worries about my formatives there and see what kind of feedback I can get from the group as a whole. I think that would really help, and I'm planning on doing that. We're not going to meet again the rest of this year, but we will next year, so I'm going to do that there. This is my data analysis as I went through and looked at the formative assessments I gave. These are 3 of them that I did on graphing, where I gradually got more difficult in the types of graphs that the students had to draw. Wanted to see who got it, who didn't, and it kind of stagnated between the first and second formative and kind of stayed put. These are the results of the FRQs that I gave. Again, the goal here is to get all students up to 50% or higher correct. That translates into a 3 on the AP exam. Again, we stagnated between the first and second. I will say I didn't have the test, the Unit 5 test, the FRQs from there. I did finally get that done, and I'm excited to say I only have 20 students. 16 of my 20 students scored 50 or higher. They got 11 of the 22 points that were available. They got that. correct. So I was happy with that. And interestingly enough, it was split dead even between on level and AP. 8 students on my on level and 8 students of my I said AP gifted got 50 or higher on the FRQ correct, and 2 on either side did not. They were close though. Wasn't like we were like really low in like the 4s and 5s. They were at least halfway there, 5, 6, 7. That's that area, but that's good, and I think that's a pretty decent increase. So I was excited about that. Talked about what I learned, and this one really stuck out to me is that I don't have enough extension activities for my gifted, not just my gifted, because there's a couple really bright on-level students, but I need to work on extension activities as well. I don't have enough of those. I have plenty of remediation, but not a lot in extension. So that's something that I need to work on. Bringing it all together. My plan moving forward for the remainder of the year is to get all students up to at least being able to score a 50 or higher, and those who are already there, pulling them up to a 75. Pulling them up to 75% correct is the equivalent of scoring a 4. And I just want to reiterate, these tests are super hard, like really, really hard. And when I say things like 50% is great, people tend to like look at me cross-eyed like I'm like crazy. But no, in the AP world, that's actually good. And a 75% or higher correct is actually really well. And that's where, eventually I'd like to get my students to go up there. More remediation and extension activities and things of that nature. Okay. There's always room for improvement. I think that's something that we all can agree on. And it's one of the reasons why I wanted to take the curriculum and instruction course at Berry, the cohort that I'm doing with Polk County. I wanted to improve my teaching, specifically in AP. And so the whole program is helping me do that. But this case study really helped me highlight areas that I needed to work on, which is one of the things that I was wanting to get out of the program. So I'm really happy with that. And I think I've talked about everything on this slide already. Spend more time with one-on-one, monitor the students more closely, more extension activities, that sort of thing, better formatives. And so thank you. This was very eye-opening. And I plan on using what I learned here next year definitely, and trying to incorporate as much as I can for the remainder of this unit and semester. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a great evening.